machiki wunju, kidapa wunju, wanyande kesawa, kidapa wunju, one machiki wunju, kidapa wunju, dafnin rafet yung wentamenda ingama, dafnin rafet yung wentamenda ingara, dafnin rafet yung wentamenda ingara, did you know, that's a richer Africa, did you know, that's a richer Africa, did you know, said the whole world love it, did you know, said the whole world love it, be proud of your culture, be proud of that what you got, be proud.
What men want and what they will, working for $1 bill. Sad to see the old slave mill, grinding slow but grinding still. Walking home, a youth gets killed, police free to shoot at will. Sad to see the old slave mill, grinding slow but grinding still. 9 to 5, you know the drill. Weekends are a short-lived thrill. Sad to see the old slave mill, it's grinding slow but grinding still. Cup run it over till it spill. Take until they've had their fill. Sure hurts to see the old slave mill, grinding slow but grinding still.
Africa,
with the intention to steal our culture. The good for the post buy and say, humble yourself, my little one. Humble yourself, my children. Humble yourself. Oh, my brother, wa-da-da. Oh, wa-da-da. While you're the night, wa-da-da. Oh, wa-da-da. Me love in Africa, wa-da-da. Love my nation, my interpretation, love universal. Love in Africa, love in America, love in Canada, wa-da-da. Whoa, wa-da-da. While you're the night, wa-da-da. Oh, wa-da-da. Every knee shall bend, every tongue shall take. Down in this valley, down in this valley, down in this valley of Jehovah. Where is your love, Jamaica? Where is your love, Jamaica? Where is your love, Jamaica? I can see your love, I can feel your love, trying to touch your love. I don't know about your love. Not them the way to love one another. Wa-da-da. Whoa, wa-da-da. Too higher than I need. Wa-da-da. How long they brought us down here, have us in bondage right through these years, fussing and fighting among ourselves. Nothing to achieve this way, it's worse than hell. I say, get up and fight for your right, my brother. Get up and fight for your right, my sister. Took us away from civilization, brought us to sleep in this big plantation, fussing and fighting among ourselves. Nothing to achieve this way, it's worse than hell. I say, get up and fight for your right.
Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis.
Took us away from civilization, brought us to sleep in this big plantation, fussing and
Still in. Eli. Rastafari. Greetings. Metamorphosis. Dr. Iman Blak, your host. In the final month, we're really in the final program for the month. And this is the opportunity that my listeners can feel free to access the lines. This is a program that allows you to hold a reasoning with Iman. The numbers are 876-453-1444. And for ones and ones who are abroad, the number is 954-338-7973. So the world is on an edge in many dimensions. And so perhaps the ones and ones who have been listening have some thing to say within these times, because silence is no longer golden. Voices must be heard. And the voice of the people globally is being heard. There's a global uprising amongst the poor, the underprivileged, and the oppressed. It's in Haiti, it's in Lebanon, it's in Chile, it's in Hong Kong. It's happening right across the globe. And these uprisings are not chaotic. They are driven by the passion and the desire and the will of the massive people who are under the oppression. And so those who call themselves government and leaders better be prepared to run away or change gear, because information has become accessible to more people, and more people are beginning to think and to ask questions. And so what was once sacrosanct and authority is no longer sacred. It's now being questioned because corruption has been leaking out of highest places. And those who are at the ground realizing that corruption doesn't move from the ground up. It seems to come from the top down. And so there's an uprising globally. It reached the Caribbean in terms of Haiti. And after Haiti, the next step is usually into Jamaica. That was the movement of the revolution, the Haitian Revolution, catch on into St. Thomas and force the British to become brutal. In this time, the Haitians are again in a state of disarray as the minority elites control the resources and keep the majority poor. It's not much different from this island in terms of the structure. So the metamorphosis, open the lines for your input. And at the same time, I want to look at the globe, what is happening globally as the globe reconfigures itself along the lines of power, where this administration of the United States, which is really being run by mobsters, it has kicked off the cover of diplomacy and has exposed the rawness of power and might and what really determines what is right. We're going to look at the United States in a way that may be different. I want to highlight these 4 institutions that really prop up America, whether you're conscious of it or not. 4 institutions. One of them is the military. And the military is at the foundation of all Western societies, and maybe all societies, where power has to be guaranteed through force. But within America, the military is an important institution. So is Hollywood. And when we say the military in America, we mean specifically now the Pentagon. So the Pentagon, Hollywood, the White House, the media, these 4 institutions that have come together to tell the world now that the world's greatest terrorist has been killed. This is now the combination of all of these institutions telling the world that al-Baghdadi, the world's greatest terrorist in the mold of Osama bin Laden, has been killed. And according to the American president, justice has been served. So when black people hear the word justice, it sounds as if it's a different thing, because the American concept of justice seems to be death. And when the black man in his crisis calls for justice, them tell him that he must be forgiven. Well, we will look at it. We look at the influence of these four institutions in the United States. Because this Baghdadi character, as my brother sent me a note, it says that on the 6th of the 12th, 2016, al-Baghdadi was killed in a United States airstrike. That was in June of the year 2016. And then in the 5th month of the year 2017, the same Baghdadi was killed in a Russian airstrike. Was killed, and then on the 11th of the 6th month, he was killed in a Syrian artillery strike. And in the same month, on the 29th, in the year 2017, the Iranian leader says he's definitely dead. In the same year, 2017, on the 7th of the 11th, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights confirmed the death of al-Baghdadi. And then in 26th of this month, he was killed again. No. Conspiracy, collusion. We have to look at the Pentagon. We want to look at the White House. We want to look at the media. We want to look at Hollywood. And how these four institutions help to influence what is provided for the world to see as information. And information now is a very tricky thing in these times. Because since 1990, there has been an explosion through the internet of what they call a highway of information. And information now is accessible to nearly everybody, anywhere, at any time. So at the same time, there's a danger that has arisen with this explosion of information. There was a time as a youth, I was told that a little bit of information is more dangerous than a whole heap of stupidness. And it didn't make any sense the first time I heard that. That a little bit of information is more dangerous than a whole heap of foolishness. And I say that to say that in this time, because the information is at the fingertips, it's like everybody has become a researcher. And everybody now talks about research. And the word has become a popular term. That you ask somebody something and they say, oh, go and research it. But you see, it's like with everything else. The term research doesn't really mean go to the dictionary and look up the meaning. And research doesn't mean going to Google. But a lot of people now think that when they go to Google and look up something, they can tell you what they have researched. It's deeper than that. It is far more extensive than that. Because researching, as the word suggests, means you're searching again. Research. So those who are involved in Googling and those are the ways of gathering information and telling me that they are doing research. One of the basic elements of research is what we call cross-checking. So it means that you have to be looking into other areas other disciplines to double check and cross check the information that you're working with. But it's good that people are beginning to investigate. It's just that everybody now has become a researcher. Yeah, it's much more than that. But we're glad still that ones and ones are beginning to search, because that is really the first thing. So we're going to look at also in this metamorphosis the continued examination of the ego. And is there need to bring death to the ego? What does the ego do to advance the cause of black man? And the fact that within the knowledge base, there is no ego in the female. I'm suggesting that she has a center of consciousness that is forceful and has been socialized to think that its essence is jealousy. So we are told through education that the woman is basically a jealous being. Is that reality? Or do we arrive at that consciousness? And do females support that notion? Because assuming that jealousy becomes a part of the center of consciousness, it means that there's a serious problem. Because we talk about confrontation and insecurity that will be displayed not just amongst men, but women amongst women. We have to think it out. So remember, the lines are open. 453-1444. 954-338-7973. We're closing out the Heritage Month. And for those who are apt on maintaining cultural celebrations, in early November, Rastafari and other Afrocentric conscious persons will be celebrating the coronation of Haile Selassie, Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia. And that is a ceremony, it's an event that is critical and important to the Rastafari movement, and in the way that the Christians would like to celebrate the birth of their Jesus, Rastafari celebrate the entrance of His Majesty through the coronation. Metamorphosis.
I don't make up I and I mind to go through the same thing like I and I forbearance, but cheerings. Cry blood Africa, cry blood.
Yeah, Metamorphosis here, Dr. Iman Blak. I want to just begin by looking at this set of events that are happening right in front of our eyes in the international media. We're talking about the United States and their behavior now in a region that the Europeans call it the Middle East. Africans will probably call it Far East. There's no Middle East, there's no top East and no bottom East. There's no East in the middle. It's Africa. And in this region, resources are what men go to war over, you know. Resources. And resources are human and resources are natural. And the natural resources primarily are those that are in the earth. Let us say, within the earth, there are resources that societies need for their own development. And development in all areas. Now, these resources are on lands that are occupied by people. You would think that the people who are occupants of the land are the natural owners of the resources in that land. But somehow it don't work like that. We get to understand that resources in the land don't necessarily belong to the people who are indigenous to the land. Because there are powers. There are powers in the earth, and there are powers within man, and there are powers within systems and powers within governments. And these powers can define and determine who should have access and control to these natural resources. Now, for example, on an island like Jamaica, we uncovered early bauxite as a natural resource. But the leadership here never worked towards developing bauxite as an industry owned by Jamaican people. Bauxite was rented out. And so the mining companies would come in and rape the land, leave the land hollow, take out the natural resources. We end up paying for aluminum products coming out of the raw bauxite. Well, those kind of resources in certain places have a way to dry up. And when it dry up, those who are doing the exploitation just simply move away. But there's a resource in the earth that makes everything run. We're talking about energy now. Energy resource. And you would think that the most abundant source of energy available to man is not really in the earth. The most abundant source of energy rests in the sun. We're not talking about nothing religious now. No, Son of God. S-O-N. We're talking about the S-U-N of God. The Son of God is a source of energy that has no end. But man on earth, Europeans particular, don't seem to want to spend much time in them resources and technological thing to gather resources, gather the energy from the sun. They have been hooked on black gold. They have been hooked on oil. A country like the United States, I think probably, maybe only China would probably challenge the United States for being the greatest consumer of oil. Yet, the oil is not in America. The oil is in other places in the world. And if you look around the world, a lot of the places where you see wars, fighting, you know, there is oil in those lands. Some of those wars may look like some type of religious struggle, you know, but it's not. Religion is the issue. Religion is a front. The real struggle is for the resources in the land, which is the oil. And again, check Nigeria. It's just by accident Boko Haram is there, eh? check Venezuela. And more critically now, let us look into the region where the oil really seems to be at its greatest level of intensity, which is in the region called the Middle East. So America now, because of them experience in 1977 with the Shah of Iran, them vow say they will never be caught over a barrel of oil again. They will never be short of oil again. And them swear to it. And to support that conviction, it cannot only be defended and articulated politically. You have to defend it militarily. So you can't talk about wanting resources and you wanting oil for the next 100 years. The Americans have to go out and defend it. And so the importance now of the military. The military is crucial for the maintenance of America, what it is. And the military mean in particular, the Pentagon. Because the Pentagon is supposed to be the brain. It's supposed to be the heartbeat of the industrial military complex, which America is. Forget all about this Democratic and Republican struggle. All of that thing is just sideshow. The hardcore that makes America run is the Pentagon. And the Pentagon has defined, must articulate America's future. And always does. It's not the White House by itself. The Pentagon is the one with the guns. The Pentagon is the one with the bombs. The Pentagon is the one who directs the future of America's military strength and might in the world. Now, that same region, what we call the Middle East. The people of that region, they have organized themselves. They've organized themselves along the line of culture, along the lines of religion, to defend them own things. And these people now are Islamic. And they are Muslim by their faith. And these are the people now who will die voluntarily on behalf of them faith. Christians won't die on behalf of them faith. Christian will never be a living martyr the way a Muslim will be. Christian afraid for dead. But him can't reach heaven unless him dead. So him living in a complex crisis in his own brain. The Muslim, straightforward. So what we find in today's 2019, the Americans, and this is not a White House thing now, this is a Pentagon thing. They have determined that they must secure oil for America's future. One of the places that have the most oil there is Saudi Arabia. And so even though Saudi Arabia is run in a non-democratic way, it is run by a tyrant, it is run by a dictator, America is willing to hug them up because them have the oil. So there's nothing moral about America. America moves with might and America moves to secure its own interests. So Saudi Arabia is a key ally under this administration of the United States. Saudi Arabia is the same country where women can do certain things, plenty of women can do certain things, Yet, those women would be, in other words, people in America would riot the way those women in Saudi Arabia are treated, but they can't because America has the might and the power of the Pentagon. So, when we look into the region now, the most organized group of Muslims have been the Iranians and the Iraqis. And we saw what the Americans did under George Bush and Iraq. They went in and they assassinated and hung the leader. Now, nobody wouldn't think that it is really in the realm of our next country to enter another country's sovereign and take out the sovereign leader. I mean, what is it? Is that you think is that going into the White House and are going into Florida and taking out Trump? Those things are unconceivable. Yet, the greatest democracy, self-claimed, goes into another country and hangs the leader. and destroys the economy of that country, but secures the oil for themselves. Halliburton, all of these guys, Cheney, is oil I'm going here to secure. It wasn't about democracy in Iraq. So the democracy coming like a front. Well, we're seeing now that Iranians are the next point in the struggle for America. And the Iranians are a different nature than even the Iraqians. The Iranians are more advanced in them nuclear potential. And remember now, it's the same thing the Americans said about Saddam, that he was building nuclear weapon. And he was on the verge of creating weapons of mass destruction. And all sort of media propaganda. Now, the focus has shifted. The focus is now Iran. And Iran now is experiencing what Trump is calling maximum pressure. And the Iranians are being forced to what the Americans call regime change. So in other words, they have the power to change our government. And they've been doing that consistently. So I wanted the people in the world looking around and observing that democracy is not a reality. Struggling between Democrats and Republicans and socialists and capitalists. The black people wasting them energy in that struggle. Our effort should be into mobilizing and organizing, because it is obvious that groups must find their own foundation. The women are doing it. The Muslims are doing it. The Africans, the black people. Yeah, we must also do it. METAMORPHOSIS, exploring the media, the Hollywood setup, the presidency, the centerpiece of the American empire is imploding. What is critical in America now is for the black population to come to a level of consciousness where they realize their own identities, which is not grounded in being American, but is grounded in the blackness of the culture. And the blackness of the culture now is not something that is just limited to being an African necessarily, because black culture has been global. We need to recognize the blackness of the culture of the people who are in places like South America, Central America. These continents were highly and heavily populated with black people. So they tell us about the Incas, and tell us about the Aztecs, and the Mayas, and the Tolmecs, and the Toltecs. These are all black cultures in these continents, Central, North, and South. So we have to open our understanding to black culture broader than just being African. In other words, we have to move beyond just the continent of Africa and recognize black culture as globally. And that the anciency of black people is not just restricted to the African continent, because we have had real research done by Professor Ivan van Sertima and others to show us the Africans living in this region 25,000 years before Jesus. So before the birth of Jesus, it's like we don't think that people was living in South America. We don't know that people was living in Central America and North America before the birth of Jesus. But this is because the Jesus birth coming at the beginning of the world, we get disconnected from our real selves. So when we look at the globe today and we see the powers being demonstrated by the United States, you recognize now it's not a society that is promoting equality and justice and all of these talk. This is a society that is governed by a group of men and women who came to the country as refugees. And these refugees become colonizers and genocide practitioners. That at this point in time now we have a black population subdued in America and subdued under laws, political laws and religious laws. But yet the society is driven by force, with race as a central element in that particular space. But for ones and ones who go there as a land of opportunity, opportunities are dwindling. And if you begin to think as an individual African, as an individual black man, what is the future for the collective? Because one-on-ones will survive. What is the future of the collective? So the announcement today or yesterday about the movie coming to a close, I see it as a movie. In the same way the Bin Laden killing was a movie. Bin Laden had been killed so many times before. But it's a setup. And I'm saying the powers that organize these things have us impressed. But when you look at the specific institutions, you can easily see how these things can become news. Your society, the Western plantations, established on military force. Even a place like Jamaica, is the army is the ultimate power. Then there's also the media here. There's the media in America. But America also have an institution called Hollywood. And Hollywood is one of the most powerful institutions in America for projecting white man's culture. That is a site where culture is produced and projected as American. So if you watch movies and you watch army movies, I used to wonder how is it movies could be, army shows could have run by Hollywood, and then you realize that Hollywood is also inseparable from the army. It's like the military and Hollywood. Ultimately, now we know Hollywood is about the wealthy. Hollywood is about the oligarchs, the same oligarchs who control the media houses. So is a white essence that is now driving America, and they get an opportunity now to express it now through the said White House, because in the White House now is one of their kind. The White House in America now has literally a mobster. And so black people now get caught up in a system where there's no protection, neither from the law, nor from the military, nor from the White House. Black people depend on them own in America. And the white forces are organizing under their ism called nationalism. And this so-called victory now by Donald Trump, you could see him bristling with glee to announce the end of the movie, that they have reached justice. Greetings. Yeah. In other words, now, the highlight of America is to show that they are a just society. And the justice that the president is now claiming is the killing of a terrorist leader in the lens of America. So it's not a matter of bringing the man to the courts. Justice is death. Black people, we don't get that training. We hear that justice must be tempered with mercy. And mercy must be tempered with forgiveness. But we realize that when the white man in America speaks about justice, he's talking about vengeance. And his vengeance means death. Do you see what I see? Resource called oil. The Americans have pulled out of Syria. They were bullied and bluffed out by the Turkish Prime Minister, who tell them that it don't matter whether you stay there or not, we are come. And the Americans them take with themselves and abandon their ally to make sure their butts don't get kicked. So what you realize happening in the world, people, and don't think that Jamaica is far away because we are far away, because we also need oil. And you know what happened? When we hear the oil price goes up and a man go to the pump next morning, Jamaica, we quickly, by next morning, you hear how much gone on to the pump, So every time something move over there, something move right here. And unlike in Jamaica, when the thing goes down abroad, it don't go down in Jamaica and it stays up. So all of these things have an impact. So we can't be naive and pretend that it won't happen to us because we don't live near them. We're talking about the most critical resource for energy. And why governments today are moving towards finding new forms of energy, how to wean ourselves away from oil. But until that time, the world is in a serious condition because it is a country that has power, military power, that is trying to corral and harness all of this oil. The Russians have their issues. And they too have their eyes on whole heap of the oil in the regions with them there. And they moved into other countries. They move into Crimea. They move into other areas because they too are defending the oil. The Americans pull out of Syria. And yet, the argument is that they have sent enough troops into Syria to protect the oil. So it's not a war over values and morality and why hospitals are bombed and children are starving. Those things don't count, you know. Them call them the collateral damage. Is the oil the man them fighting for. So we cannot be deceived. And then when we recognize now other resources in the earth, the next critical resource to oil is water. And the way the world fighting over oil, no. That war, that theater may quickly shift to the field wherein water becomes the prize. And it's not so far away. So a place like Jamaica, if we had leaders who were thinking ahead, as much as them talk about Vision 2030, where is the effort to harness that resource that is supposed to be part of our, is it the motto, the land of wood and water? Where is the efforts being made to harness water as a resource? Because water also can generate electricity. No, we're going to wait until some man from Asia or America who speaks funny to come and tell the leaders that that would be a good investment. The world is in desire for resources. You see that the Americans will murder and kill for oil. We must be in a situation as a small island where we begin to develop other sources of energy. And the critical source of energy that we must invest in is the sun. Solar energy is the key. So that should be the vision and the way forward for islands like these in the Caribbean and African countries where the sun is the most abundant in its shining. In other words, now, preparation is key. And being proactive is critical. Oil will not be sustainable as a source of energy over the future. Make it begin to penetrate water here in Jamaica. Portland, lead the way.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Native Broadcasting Network or Stylzfm.
Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
This feeling is taking over me. I'm so excited.
Feel the euphoria.
Tuesdays from 5 to 9 p.m. with the Master Mixer Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Giving you total satisfaction with melodies and memories by the score. With the widest selection of genres and hits. So you don't know the program you turn up, you know. So you know Patek's a full dance, the one you slap with.
Digital and we are party. Yeah, we flawless. Euphoria the program. Every Tuesday.
5 to 9. Every Tuesday.
With the Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Some say that Zika, dengue, and chikungunya are found in water, and that by drinking the water, we can get infected. But that's false. Zika, dengue, and chikungunya are transmitted through the bite of a mosquito that breathes in stagnant water. Protect yourself and your family.
But you don't know it's Steph-I Fire Show. Steph-I Fire, wake up in the morning to the sunlight and your face lifted here to the sky, breathe in the air of another day. Another Thursday, yeah. She give her thanks to Jah, guidance and discharge. She pray with this ritual devotion. She enhance her energy, her positivity. She open eyed and open mind and open thoughts. But they don't know it's girl Bird's Eye representing for the Steph-I Fire Show.
Remember Stylzfm on social media. View us on YouTube, Stylzfm Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Stylzfm. Like us on Twitter at Stylzfm961. Become a fan on Facebook, Stylzfm 96.1.
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak. Kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
Time to rise up. How do we rise up from situations without any support? hear people tell it all the while that they want support, they want help. Well, enough time the help exists within, Enough time the startup exists within. Oftentimes people want a startup to come from outside. So they're waiting for something to start them up rather than start up themselves. And then the support will come. So we're going to deal with I word, sound and power and deal with issues of identity and issues of power as it relates to the plantation that we're on and the leaders, leadership. How does a leader, how do leaders manage power? Because we're having issues in Jamaica with poor, if not reckless leadership. So we have to begin to check more keenly into the makeup of the individuals. The term is the psychology of that individual. How are the psychology put together? How individuals come together in a place like Jamaica to become a leader? How you get into the ministry? How do you become a minister? What is the road to become a minister in Jamaica? And the two main ministers are the minister of religion and the ministers of government. What is the road? What is the outline? What is the path that one can take to become a minister? And are ministers born or are they trained? Because the etymology tells us that the word minister really means servant. But in Jamaica Island, the issue becomes the servant of who? Are you a servant of the Queen, of Her Majesty, or are you a servant of the 94% black population? Who do you swear allegiance to? So there was a time when I think when all the ministers and the Prime Minister now had to swear to the Queen. I don't know if that changed, But if you're swearing allegiance to a foreign power, it means those who live here, them salt. The natives become salt. So we're looking at the leadership now and the leaders and the issues of personality and how we get these kind of people to be leading in important institutions like the ministry. The ministry under scrutiny within this month is really the Ministry of Culture. Because it has dawned upon I and I that in all our various efforts at emancipation and liberation, we always think that culture is the answer. And we always speak to culture as a way of liberating the individual and the group from enslavement. You have to know your culture. And you have to know your culture. And you have to disavow your culture. But then when you look at the institution under which our cultural affairs fall, this is a very serious problem. Because if we are going to emphasize identity and culture to be connected to the African persona, how does the Ministry of Culture promote Africa? Does the Ministry of Culture promote Africa and things African? Because you see, this is where there seems to be a great disconnect. That much of the country is looking towards culture as a way of escaping poverty. Yet, the government has put culture under a ministry that has no support. When I say no support now, what do I mean? Culture is so broad that when you look under that culture ministry, you also see entertainment. And I have to say, wait a minute. What's going on here? Because entertainment is a global industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And this is locked up under the Ministry of Culture. And then I look further and see that the Ministry of Culture also has the Ministry of Sport locked up underneath it. And sport too is a global billion-dollar industry. So where and how now will the black population benefit from these 3 global industries in which we are key players. These are the industries in which black people are the dominant players. Entertainment, sports, and culture. Where is the connection between these forces now and economics and industry? Because industry now should be very closely connected to entertainment, sports, and culture. These are industries unto themselves. So this ministry is highly understaffed. There's no way one woman can run this. And not because she's a woman, she can't run it. No one person should be responsible for this super ministry. There needs to be a minister or a junior minister to be involved in entertainment. A portfolio specific for entertainment and a portfolio specific for sports. It is oppression multiplied when you put all of these talents and culture and people under this one ministry and then tell the people they know that they need education to uplift themselves. This plantation is holding people on a slave mill, on the grind. It's not allowing people to be progressive. It's not allowing people to advance their own personal upliftment. So there is corruption in the Ministry of Education, in the Ministry of Energy, and there is discard, and there is underutilization, and there's hold down going on the population in the way the Ministry of Culture have to operate itself. And it don't done yet. They attach gender to this ministry. And gender is all about women. Gender have nothing to do with males, you know. It's women's studies. How women are influenced across the globe in all formats of oppression and so forth and so on. So they attach that to the Ministry of Culture as well. So it's all of the black people them now lock up in the one ministry. All of the black people them lock up in entertainment, culture, sports, and woman. That is the country. So those are the 4 ministries, 4 areas where the resources should be pumped into. But no, we're pumping it into hospitality and into tourism. So where is the priority? Metamorphosis.
Now this was just another day. Ooh-wee. They don't feel I look in your eye. I didn't think until I felt the good touch of your hand. And from within me,
Yeah, just continue. Just look into those three areas that the black man has established himself globally: sports, entertainment, culture. Even the United States, these three areas of activity are critical to driving that whole economy over there, you know. And if you recognize the people who make those three economies, those three areas move, it's black people. So, place like Jamaica, sports, it is one activity particularly that brings the psychic reality of the people into oneness. It doesn't happen in many other areas, but we can speak about sports that brings what we call a psyche into existence that represents the nation. And the performers there are the black population generally. Yet those who are in the government are not putting things in place to facilitate the development of these sports persons. They show up when victory is achieved and they pat each other on the back and telling everybody that this is a Jamaican. We see where Dr. Bolt has been awarded an international award for his humanitarian service. This is Little Barefoot Youth from Donga Trelawney. Through the power of sports and culture, has made himself into a global icon. Nothing to do with the leadership in Jamaica, nothing to do with the politics, nothing to even do with the education system per se. Yet, all the politicians run up and down behind this person trying to get a photograph with him. So the power to transform this island economy doesn't rest in tourism. Tourism holding our population at the level of servitude, where we have our children being sent to university to get the highest degrees to become servants in hospitality industry. And they turn up the nose against the person who achieves through sports, because sports is not about being bright. But look around the world. And it's not brightness running the world, it's the people with the power. Trump is not a bright man. Trump is far from bright. But Trump is sitting in a seat of power. So we have to recognize what it is that determines power. And when you have power, how to exercise it and how to develop power. And sports, entertainment, culture are platforms that give black people power. Power economically, power through the media, power to influence. So we can't support the notion of the governments in Jamaica, both parties, who put in a focus on tourism, and at the same time, sports and entertainment must find their own way. We don't have any arena areas in Jamaica where entertainment can be conducted in an organized way. There's no investment in no major arena for football, for athletics. What we have is from 1962. And these things were built reluctantly, that national stadium, because of what we call now in Jamaica, classism. It is that ism that is holding down the development of the society in one area. Because that same ism categorizing sports and education as extracurricular and trying to mainstream what is called education, when the mainstream education really is to create workers for the plantation. When sports and culture and entertainment provides and creates entrepreneurs and give man money. So we have to face these things in Jamaica. The classism that discriminates. The biggest diss in Jamaica is not disrespect. The biggest diss in Jamaica is discrimination. We discriminate against man and woman for all various reasons. Discriminate against a man because him hair long. Discriminate against a woman because she's too short. And the next one too tall. And the next one too this. And we discriminate against everything in Jamaica. So when we begin to reflect a little bit on our own psychology, and we look at our own behavior, and really examine why we behave so. What is the cause of this behavior? The general word in Jamaica is bad mind. But why are we grudgeful? Why are we envious? Why are we jealous? How can we overcome and destroy those negative aspects of our personality? Because we don't born necessarily those kind of ways. Socialization, education, religious training have one group of people thinking that they're more righteous than the next group. Have one group of people thinking that the next group of people are sinners and they are saved. All kind of discrimination. One set of people feel inferior because they didn't get an education. The next set of people feeling superior because they got an education. It's pure discrimination. So unless we change up our house and shift up our own matrix, the people who have the real power in the world, the people with the military, people with the technology and the media, will continue to have I and I as puppets on a string. Metamorphosis. Remember now, if you want to make a point, you want to hold a reasoning, it's 453-1444, local number. If you want to make about some overseas, it's 954-338-7973. Metamorphosis, lines are open.
Power belongs unto our Father. Crown and title won't get no one nowhere in this cycle. So brimstone, fire and hailstone, occurring in every soul. Cause the plowman has overtaken the reaper, and the feeling the same, but with this guy in the name. Oh no, this can't go on. A nation rise and nations fall, leaving the righteous standing tall for the power and the glory. For the power and the glory. For the power and the glory. What a great response. For the power and the glory. For the power and the glory. For the power and the glory.
Yeah, the power and the glory. You know, oftentimes we hear the term, power only respects power, But sometimes in our own way of thinking, we never even go to the dictionary yet and look up the word power. A dictionary is something that I think should be in everybody's household. Yeah, you're supposed to have a dictionary close by, because its words run the world. Ideas run the world. And ideas are constructed through words, and these words have their meanings, and these meanings can be found in a dictionary. So when you're uncomfortable with what you're reading or listening to, make a note of the words and then find the time to go and look them up, so you can get an idea what is the meaning when the words are strung together. A lot of I people lack comprehension because they don't know how to connect the meaning of the individual words in a sentence. Simple enough. Because each word has a meaning, and the words are strung together. So if you lack the understanding of the meaning of those words, the meaning of the whole sentence will not register. You will come up with what you call your own interpretation. Now, this is the thing now with this interpretation concept, that when a person writes something, the writer has a meaning. If you read that same writing and get a different meaning, that is your interpretation, that is your own interpretation. That's not what the writer meant. So you have a lot of people talking about, well, that's my interpretation. Your interpretation has nothing to do with the truth. That is just your interpretation. The truth is what the writer meant, based upon what the writer wrote. But everybody now taking things now and telling you that, well, I interpret that. That doesn't bring any reality to the reasoning, because you can interpret anything and you can say anything you want. And the other problem now we have in communication is this thing called opinion. People talking utter rubbish, and you show them say rubbish. Them say, well, that's their opinion. It just means that you can have an opinion that is rubbish. And there are also opinions that are what you call professional opinions. You have opinions that are based upon experience, or experienced opinions. So everybody's opinion is not the same. So just telling me says your opinion doesn't change anything. It just means that's how you feel. And reasoning is not grounded in feelings, because you can feel any way you want. The reasoning must be driven by knowledge. And the knowledge has to be gathered through different disciplines, cross-discipline, to arrive at something close to the truth. So, power, the ability or the capacity to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events, that is power. Now, black people in general, based upon our plantation experience, our introduction to power is from a position of being powerless. Because in the Western world, the black man was introduced into this Western world as a chattel. And chattel is powerless. Animals are literally powerless. And on that level, power is an alien concept to the black man in terms of possessing it and exercising it, because we have always been in the position of being powerless. The plantation society deals with power and the powerless. The plantation society deals with the oppressor and the oppressed. And in that framework, power is actually connected to might. And power is connected to violence. And power is connected to force. Because in order to have the behavior changed or have the events conducted the way you want it, just having the power is not enough. The power must be demonstrated. And the demonstration comes through physical expression, force, violence. So I and I, as a people, know about powerlessness by being victims of violence. And we know about power by those who commit violence. Now, while being victims of the violence through this power, we are also told that we must not seek that similar power. We must not seek military power. We must seek spiritual power. So the white man tells us that it is his prerogative to secure military and other forms of physical power. The black man must not strive for that. His strive must be for spiritual power. Because it is this spiritual power that will take him away and out of the position of being a victim. He will die, but his soul shall live on. This is what the powerful can do. They can convince the powerless that power is not for them. And that their only taste of power will come when they die. It's a very serious situation. And if we open our eyes and look at how the world really operates, the essence of power is not spiritual. Essence of power is military and economic. Get it? The true definition of power is your ability to make your own choice. Sometimes power means standing strong. Sometimes it means to step aside. Power is not the same as authority. Check it.
Is in need of sweet devotion. Come on, because you got the potion to bring out the love in me, and I will bring out the love in you. Let the lover in you touch the lover in me, and the rebel in me the rebel in you, and the rebel in you will touch the rebel in me, and the lovers within will bring sweet harmony. Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in us. Bring out the love. Said I wanna bring out the love. Bring out the love. Said I wanna bring out the love. Bring out the love. Bring out the love. Bring out all the love. Bring out the rebel. Said I wanna bring out the rebel. Bring out the
Power rules the world today. Power corrupts, they say. And absolute power corrupts you. Absolutely. It can change a man who has a heart of gold. Make him cruel, wicked, self-centered and cold. Many men in this land, many organizations fought for freedom and justice throughout the land. When they have power and authority, they don't give a damn about nobody. Prostituting the island, swall and sun-dry, they peddling my people's right. Exploiting, oppressing, less freedom, more suffering. I wonder how we survive. Think it over, my friend. Think it over again. Think it over, don't vex with me, shorty. Think it over, I'm singing as I see. Food we can't even buy. Murder the price too high. Malnutrition killing the children while we the adults starving. Yet the price is rising without control. Young man begging bread by the side of the road. And the chamber of commerce in this land, I tell you, they don't give one damn. The more we try to economize, the more cost of living rise. When they have power and authority, they don't give a damn about nobody. They prostituting the island, milking the land dry. They making my people starve. Exploiting, oppressing, less freedom, more suffering. This thing just can't go on. Think it over, my friend. Think it over, carefully again. Think it over, don't vex with me, shorty. Think it over, I'm singing as I sing. Work we can't even find. Life seems a waste of time. Nothing to do but sit around the corner line. Though frustrated, some would rather starve than beg. Others turn to crime and steal what they can get. And the judges have no sympathy. They're hammering everyone that they catch. Even little children are jailed without regret. When they have power and authority, they don't give a damn about you or me. Or what they do, lock me up when they catch me. Smoking little tampy while the social rich are freed. Exploiting, oppressing, less freedom, more suffering. A poor man's life is really hard indeed.
Yeah, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yes, there's a message on the text line. No name, but the person saying the social pathology in Jamaica is powered by hatred, which comes out of the colonial experience. Okay. And the person is also saying that the British Empire built on hatred, which is dissipated to former colonies. All right. So we'll see what the person say. No name, but give thanks for the input. It's something, you know. It's something. Hatred, you know. But before we even talk about hatred, a little bit about those leaders who have been given power. And we're talking about men like all the ministers now. These ministers have been given power, given the power by the people. But as the artist said, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. It can change a man who has a heart of gold, make him cruel, wicked, self-centered, and bold. So this self-centeredness now that these leaders take up, it is ego problem. It is ego problem. And then you recognize that it is such a deep pathological issue that you wonder, how is it that these men don't have any shame? Because you would think that shame would be a part of them superego. You would think that guilt would be a part of their superego. But these men have no conscience. So my brother would have say, boy, man, it look like Dracula, he took the man them conscience. Because the behavior of these men when given power is conscienceless. Because they rob and they steal and they put their family and friends in the position to benefit from the resources of the country. Now, the penal system, which is supposed to be the site now of justice, when we look to that institution now to punish these men, because we're using this word called discipline in a very negative and destructive way. Because when somebody violates the law, they are not supposed to be disciplined. They are supposed to be punished. But we like to do things backwards and talk things backwards in Jamaica. Just like we try to solve crime without solving violence. So we have a system, a court system that will allow those who are in the wrong to finance their way out of the wrong and to remain free in the society. Now, power is power, you know. And it is power that is above the law. So they tell us that there are exceptions to every law. And so we have a lot of people now who are exceptions. We have a whole class of people who are exceptions to the law. So these people now, when they violate the law, they talk about they should be disciplined. And so they are removed from their jobs and they are given something to do, and two tools you hear them say, I shall be back. Because I heard that years ago in the political arena, when one particular politician was accused of allegedly or whatever violating the system, him just tell the people, him say, look, don't worry yourself, man. I shall return. And so it is that these men are able to manipulate the system of power and to avoid what we call jail time. So the justice system is not equal on the plantation. The justice system suits those who have resources. And with resources, you can finance your way around the law. We are in a situation now where the Minister of Education, who has been alleged to be responsible for moving millions of dollars out of the national resources, the law and the legal system may just get him off. Because they have these technicalities that they call upon and loopholes that they jump out and jump in to suit themselves. And so at an individual level, I would be totally amazed if any of these men spend one day in conditions that are what we call prison. It's very unlikely because the system of power protects certain class of people. And this class of people become in that class because of them connection to the resources. It's a time for the wider population to open up them eyes and wake up. The Haitian people decide so them taking it no more. The people in Lebanon say they can't take it anymore. People in Hong Kong, governments who have been put in place to serve the people have been serving themselves. And the people are wising up. Will the Jamaica people wise up? Will they wise up and rise up in this metamorphosis?
More for umpteen years and a score, not only by the words of his mouth, but the meditation of his heart, not only by the words of his mouth, but the meditation of his heart, yeah. God and King, our needless is. So give him praises, and we all shall live, not only by the words of our mouths, but the meditation of our hearts, not only by the words let it accept the Lord. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. 'Cause we know that the wrong can't beat the right. Never, never let me fall. So let all nations help us sing. Praises to the kings of kings, not only by the words of their mouths, but the meditation of their hearts, not only by the words of their mouths, but the manifestation of their hearts, yeah. praises to our God and King, not only by the words of our mouths, but the meditation of our hearts. Not only by the words of our mouths, but the manifestation of our hearts. Not only by the words of our mouths, not only by the mouth.
So on plantation, Jamaica, how do the powerless acquire power? What must the powerless do to get some of that power? Well, those who control the power tell the powerless that one of the best ways to acquire power is through education. Get an education. It's the key to your development. And so, of course, we pack on channel all our children into the education system, which is set up in advance to create high-quality workers. High-quality workers, meaning those who are able to carry out instructions and get certain things done, provide service. So that has been the argument from day one. Poor people, you want to get power, get education. All right. So after decades of education, we realize as a massive that this thing here have some handicaps. Because the education system is not just and fair. The school system is uneven because there are schools that are highly equipped, both materially and with human resources, and schools that are not. So it's an uneven play field within that dimension of acquiring personal, individual power through education. So they tell us at the same time now that we have to try and make it. You have to make it. So make it really mean having money. But then you can't have the money until you get the education. But the education doesn't give you enough money to have money. It gives you enough money to keep working. So the power is elusive. But you realize what are the ingredients of the power? Money is essential. But there are some other things now that the society throws out that gives you the feeling that through those ways you can also acquire power. And one of those ways is to get a title. If you give him a title or give her a title, it gives them a sense of power. But not really power. It really gives them, put them in a position of authority. And there is a difference between authority and power. I want you to look it up. But the basic behind authority is just really the ability to give orders. Yeah. That is really the essence behind authority now. The ability to give orders. But to those who make the laws and the rules, these are the people with the power. So the poor man now, who have been tricked into this thing about getting status, because that is the key word now, you know. You have to get status. You have to move from being chattel to being somebody. Yeah, because, you know, the whole idea in Jamaica is that, you know, you have to be somebody. In other words, you're never born in a body. You're never born in a body because you're a descendant of the slave, so you're going to be somebody now. To be that somebody, you must get an education. And if you can't get the proper education, you must get a title. So these titles now are almost equivalent to the status. And you're recognized now in Jamaica by your status. What is tricky is that this title, if you look at the individuals who rally and thrive behind titles, they're usually very weak people. Because weak people really hide behind titles and they will stab you in your back. But when you come to titles now, it is so important in Jamaica on this plantation because of how them orchestrate it. Is that you have men in government. Well, let us begin with the heroes weekend and the heroes culture. We have our status that we ascribe to our heroes, and the highest one we give is a national hero as a title. But you take a man out of that descendants of the slaves and that mentality of being oppressed and poor and lack of value, and you give him a position of argument's sake, a god, and tell him don't make anybody pass this door. Hey, nobody can pass a door there, not even mother. The way we exercise the power given to prevent. And that becomes a tool now and gives the individual now a sense of value and status because them can't stop you. So things called discretion don't exist. Reasoning don't exist. It's about exercising the power. Well, we have some men in politics that will say that these men are doing some things that need to be questioned as it relates to titles. Because these men already have titles when they get into government. They are members of parliament. That's a title. Now we give our heroes titles. We give our hero the title of national hero. Our first national hero is Marcus Messiah Garvey. And through some thing, they have bestowed upon him the title Honorable. So we now speak of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. And you would think that this is the highest title that you can give to an individual. But you see, our politicians in Jamaica, they might have gone beyond that. Because I would like someone to explain to me, what does it mean when a man tell you that no, he is the most honorable? How does a man move to become the most honorable this and the most honorable that? Is that man more honorable than Marcus Garvey, our honorable national hero? What is the meaning of the most honorable? I thought it would be more honorable first. So what you notice now, you know, the man them giving themselves these titles. I don't know if money is attached to them. I don't know what kind of resource and benefit they get from these titles, but somebody tell me, how does somebody move to the title, the most honorable? How them get that? Who give them that? What makes them the most honorable? Somebody tell me. Metamorphosis.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Stylzfm be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low price promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Stylzfm for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
This is Ricardo Suave, inviting you to tune into Smoosic, the show for the ladies, with DJ Prestige, from 9 to midnight every Tuesday on Styles 96.1 FM, Portland's best.
Girl, I've been watching you.
Did you know that dengue, chikungunya, and Zika are transmitted by mosquitoes? This is why it is so important to get rid of tires, bottles, and other containers with stagnant water and keep barrels covered. Eliminating stagnant water is everyone's responsibility. Protect yourself and your family. A message from the USAID, PSI Caribbean, CARFA, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
For complete auto repairs and services, come to Akon Auto Technology, located at 33 Bumble Crescent, Port Antonio, Jamaica. We offer specialist services in wheel alignment and wheel balancing, brake drum and disc rotary servicing, state-of-the-art ultrasonic cleaning and testing of your fuel injectors. We also stock an assorted range of auto service parts, tires, and motorcraft batteries. If we don't have it, we will source it for you. Call us at 876-715-5205 or email akonautotech16@gmail.com. Akon Auto Technology, beyond the typical auto mechanic shop.
Are you sick of living an average life and tired of just getting by? Do you want to take your life to the next level? Learn the secrets of the super successful. Listen to Power in a Half Hour with Coach Mark this and every Wednesday night on Stylzfm from 9 to 10 p.m. Learn the habits of the super successful and how to make these habits work for you. Learn to turn your dreams and desires into reality. You can win in the game of life. Let Coach Mark show you how. Every Wednesday night on Stylzfm from 9 to 10 p.m.
Business operators, local and overseas. This announcement is for you.
Stylzfm is an internationally known radio network with worldwide listeners in over 120 countries.
From our studio in Port Antonio, Jamaica, to the ears of the people in your community, our listeners can be your new customers.
Stylzfm is an economical, efficient, and effective advertising option for your business.
No matter the size of your business, there's always growth potential. Stylzfm provides the customer reach needed to realize that upward movement.
So procrastinate no more. Advertising is a must.
For more details on how to advertise with Stylzfm, visit www.stylzfm.com or email info@stylzfm.com or call us on 876-518-2399.
Stylzfm, the world listens.
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak. Kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimiki.
Metamorphosis. Rolling into the final hour, looking into Alkebulan, our story. what it is we used to do before we were captured by the Arabs and before we were captured by the Europeans, before we became Islam and before we became followers of Jesus. What is it we used to do as a people globally? And our global history, as I'm saying to the item, is not really just on the continent of Africa. It's also on the continent that is called the Northern Continent, North America. It's in the Americas, Central America, South America. These are the continents that the black people have populated and dominated for centuries. For centuries. But because of the English education system, we only hear about this region with the coming of Columbus. And Columbus' arrival in this region is not the arrival of consciousness into this region, it's the arrival of colonists and exploitation. Because thousands of years prior to that 1400 experience, black cultures have been here. Just read up on the Olmecs, Olmecs. Read up on the Toltecs, Toltecs. These are black cultures, civilizations that share almost identical cultural artifacts with the ancient Egyptians. The architecture, the giant heads that were found in Central America, those gigantic headstones, the technology to produce these stones amazed the white man the same way he's amazed about the technology that was used to create the pyramid. But as time goes on and more research is done, we have evidence now that in America itself, that they have found a colony of Egyptian life and culture in the Grand Canyon. You know, the Grand Canyon is North America, you know. They have found mummies and they have found tobacco in these mummies. Now, the mummification is an African science. The mummification is a science of chemistry mastered by the ancients that allow them to preserve the skin of the royalty. So this science is also global wherever there's black culture. It's in South America before Cortez went there with his barbarism. So when we look at blackness, which is the essence of our being, I am saying it is more ancient and wider than just being African. Because the blackness culture is global. The first set of people in Asia were black people. The first set of people in China were black people. So the black presence is global. But the education splice it up and give it the impression that it's just Africa. It's just a continent and there's nowhere else. So we have to open our intelligence and begin to realize that the stories coming out of the continent is not the whole of black history. What did the Olmecs have to say about their existence? They speak about their ancestors and their descendants, and they speak about Atlantis as an ancient, far more superior culture to them. 65 million years ago. But this kind of history is not revealed to us when we read English history, when you read the history presented to us by the Europeans. Because they are the ones, remember, one time they thought the world was flat. Just recently. And in their thinking of the world being flat, black man been sailing the globe ever since. So we have always been advanced, technologically, scientifically. There is an argument being presented now by European scientists that the universe is expanding. No, that may not mean much at all to anyone. What does it mean and how does it make the price of bread less, whether the universe is expanding or not? So oftentimes we don't engage in these type of ideas. We leave it to the white man and then they give us their findings and then we jump up and defend them. The universe is something that we have to speak about maybe in another program. What does it mean to say you're living in a universe? Are we living in the same universe? We are on the same planet, yes, but are we in the same universe? Does each individual living at the center of their own universe, what does it mean to live in the universe? And is there a bigger concept than universe? What about cosmos? What about the term galaxy? How do we configure these ideologies within our own brain space? It's not something that is left for Europeans, because the ancients mapped out the skies, mapped out the galaxies long time ago. So this information that we're getting now is nothing new. It is new to the European because he must prove these things to himself through what he call his experiential experiential. He must prove it to himself. So until he prove it to himself, he don't go so. So when we, for thousands of years, knew that the world was round, he thought it was flat. And he held on to that until he proved it to himself. Said not flat, then him started say, it is round. And we have been accustomed to accepting what him say without thinking about the things ourselves. So ancient Egypt, the culture of ancient Egypt has not been limited just to the continent of Africa. That culture has been in Central America. The culture has been in North America. The culture has been in South America. The culture has been in Far East Asia. The pyramid culture, the black man culture, the culture that speaks to a philosophy and a psychology that deals with the unity of the genders, wherein the male and the female operate as a single principle. Unlike the European concept of splitting the male and the female and setting the male as superior and the female as inferior. So we have to consistently revisit the gods, the goddesses, the cosmology of the ancient Egyptians. Metamorphosis.
Africa had great kings and queens, you should know. Search your history, it will show. If you know not from whence you came, you are doomed to live in shame.
Great kings of Africa, rulers all about. They were mighty, brave and strong. So everybody is dying in Africa. Yes, I eat in Africa. Oh, yeah, in Africa. Yes, I eat in Africa. Oh, yeah.
Now let no one fool you. Great was Shaka Zulu. The British army never did see such a fierce warrior as he.
In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah.
Afonso of the Congo region adopted for his people the Christian religion, never bowing to what was paid, united his people against the slave trade.
In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah.
Akhenaten, the first man, tell that the God is one, carve the theology that men could see, that the Almighty was no mystery.
In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa,
invaded by the fascist Mussolini. If the world had listened to this little...
Yeah, D, we hear you. These men attach titles to themselves through the power of the Queen and the GG. They're still a puppet. Yes. On a string. Royal string.
Yes. Africa had great kings and queens, you should know. Search your history, it will show. If you know not from whence you came, you are doomed to live in shame.
Yes, it's in Africa. Yes, in Africa. Yeah, in Africa. Yeah.
Hannibal, yes, he was bold. Took his army of elephants through the cold. Through the Alps his army came, confounding enemies, putting them to shame.
In Africa, yes, it's in Africa. Yeah, in Africa, Africa, Africa. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Yes, it's yes. I am ruling. I am ruling. Do you get my meaning?
Shaka bum 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 bum, shaka bum 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 bum, shaka bum 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 bum, shaka in Africa bum 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 bum, shaka bum 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 bum, shaka bum bum bum.
Yeah, you need to know about Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. Hat, Hat, Shep, Shepsut. That's one word. Hatshepsut. No, she was the daughter of King Thutmose I. Now we're talking about royalty, and we're talking about leadership, and we're talking about woman. We're talking about ancient Alkebulan black culture. And in this context, Hatshepsut should be known by one and all. Hatshepsut should be taught to all our primary school students that they recognize the greatness in the woman as a queen and as a leader of government. Hatshepsut, the daughter of a king, Thutmose I, she became the queen of Egypt. Now, what does that mean? Egypt was like the capital of the world. You know, some people think New York is a hot spot of the world. Egypt was a cultural center of the world. And we're talking about a black woman who was the queen of Egypt. At around the age 12, she came to the throne. Now, upon the death of her father, she began to act as regent. And later took on the full powers of a pharaoh, becoming co-ruler of Egypt around 1473 years before the Christian era. So almost 1500 years before we hear about any Jesus and Mary and Joseph and this confusion of ghosts, we have a reality facing us of a black woman sitting on the Egyptian throne as ruler and head of government. And no man now rebel. And no man now lick about no woman can't do this and a woman. This is black man culture, where the female is at her position of leadership. And Hatshepsut, as I say, 1400 years before the Jesus story. And as a pharaoh, she extended the Egyptian trade. And she oversaw some ambitious building projects. Most notably, a temple, which was in the western section of Thebes. Now, I only say this to say to the item that within this world of times and of issues with women and females and this power struggle of who is superior and who is the head and who is the tail and who should be the winner of the bread and who should bring in the bully beef. All of these things are irrelevant if we reconnect with our true story, wherein the woman is given the powerful position and role as defender of the family. Or better than that, she can be given the role as the protector and the man as the defender. Because the female is the great protector. She protects her children, she protects her household, she even protects our man, but our man have to defend her and the family. This is a unity in black people. This is the unity between black male and black female. So we get these proper knowledge of our true selves as it relates to power and the female. And it should not be a celebration because a woman is in a position of leadership. And I know it as a natural situation. So we have to look into our story to realize the greatness of our women and our kingdoms and our royalties. Hatshepsut did her thing in the 15th dynasty. Or was it? But the point you have to know is that she was only the third woman to become pharaoh in 3,000 years of ancient Egyptian history. Yeah, only the third woman. Cleopatra also exercised such power. And she would rule some 14 centuries later. Look here. You see all the women them who talking about man of mind them. And the one put in a barrel and put on a hill. Where is the power? All women are empowered. And this power now is higher than the ego. This is a power of creativity. The power of survival. And the women have to restore that power to themselves. And when they begin to exercise that power of dignity and royalty, man will have to bow. No man can't call it no gal and no ho. As a man say, him say royalty. And I am going to be silent. I'm going to deal with you with reverence. Metamorphosis.
Give thanks, Slotan, for represent Love Star Music is blessed.
How many charities do they need to have for Africa when Africa has all she needs?
Africa love.
Yeah, the voice of Eternal. All we need is love, African love. And African love must be different from European love. Could never be the same. Everything coming from a whole different state of nature. Culture coming from ice, one coming from the sun. So the love could never be the same. One love is going to be cold and the other love will be fiery hot. And so relations will be different as well. Relations will be based upon different issues and different characteristics within individuals, within those two cultures. But interestingly, you know, the Christian world using the Bible as a tool of control and power has enforced the ideology of monogamy. They have used laws to enforce the idea of one woman and one man as a relationship. These laws them using it's not nature happening. It doesn't happen by nature. It's by force. So before they met us, our relations weren't connected to no force. There were no monogamous laws. These laws were created by the Romans. Let's just say that. So before Rome infiltrated Africa and Cleopatra and all get into Egyptian culture, it was not the normal, natural way for a relation to be formed simply by one man and one woman. Because the natural way within black culture was polyandrous. And the key word is poly versus mono. And the women in the Western world now, because they have been told that they are jealous by nature, they can't see outside now of this monogamy. Their mentality cannot allow them to see beyond monogamy because of what Christianity tell them about what is a relation. Well, you see, on the African continent, you see in a black culture before the aliens begin to enforce them laws. Remember, so the aliens also come with buggery, you know. Them come with all them deviant behavior, them homosexuality, and the various perversions, including monogamy, as a law. When we look into today's world, in a place like Kenya, the women in Kenya today are celebrating. What are they celebrating? Them celebrating that the government of Kenya has legalized polygamy. I want them to understand what that means. The government has legalized polygamy and the women in Kenya are celebrating. Now, why would the women celebrate? Because the woman in the West is so jealous and possessive that she is trying to own a man. She really wants to own the man's penis. She wants to say she has total control because that is her fight. Well, it looks as if the women in Kenya don't have that same fight. They don't seem to be fighting over no front. They seem to be fighting to have a relationship. Yeah, a relationship. And they're going to have a relationship because the men that they're going to have a relationship can afford it. So in other words, now, what is happening in Kenya? No look a broke pocket man can't get involved in what the government has now made official. Because women don't like broke pocket man. And if the government has legalized polygamy and the women are celebrating, it means the women have begun to see a new life for themselves. What does it really mean? It means 2 or 3 women can identify the man that they want to be with. Yeah, the power rests in the woman. The women are deciding which man they want to have a relationship with. It's not the man trying to get a lot of women to have sex with 3, 4, 5 women. It's 3, 4 women trying to secure a relationship with a man. And they rather do that than burn. That is the Christian language. They rather than live a horny life. They rather have than live a life of sexual frustration. Because in that relation, there is community. And their children have other families beyond themselves. In other words, the Western woman still trying to be owners of the men. And the man them trying to own the private parts of the women. So there's no relation. The Africans, particularly the Kenyans, the women in Kenya realize that they don't want to live lonely. And they don't want to live horny. And they don't want to be bored. They don't want to live in a same-sex relation. They want to have a relationship with a male. And they are willing. Yes, they are willing to share a relationship with a male. And the male who can share his time must have the resources, must have the psychology, must have the mentality. So what we're being offered in this Western world, in terms of relationship, is same-sex relationships. Our women live by themselves and become frustrated because the law says bigamy is a crime. Well, the Kenyan government just burn out bigamy, and they've just liberated their women that they can experience natural living. Metamorphosis. There is a political movement called LGBTQ, driven by white people with them deviant behavior, trying to insist that the whole world join them. The African continent is in resistance. And because they have the money power, they can come with their money, and in order to get the money, they impose upon the people that they must change their laws to facilitate this LGBTQ agenda. Again, Kenya's legalized polygamy, but they have also criminalized homosexuality. That has been signed into law by the Prime Minister. Now, some harsh actions have to be taken because these LGBTQ people have no qualms about bringing them agenda right into your face. And Jamaica is an island now battling with these people. They're trying to get into all of the spaces to preach them gospel about same sex. I as Rastafari and as a black culture man, we don't know where that come from. Not even the animals practice that. Not even the animals practice that. But the human animal now, this human animal who consider themselves to be this highest animal, is involved in all sorts of deviancy. You know, say I'm not involved in that animal kingdom because black cultures, black people don't come from no animals. We don't have no monkey blood. We don't have no monkey DNA. And we don't have any of those traits that link us with orangutan and those animals. So that behavior is human behavior, not the behavior of divine man. And divine man means female and male. It is the humans who are coming with these animal behaviors. The next step is to legalize bestiality. Yeah, that's going to be the next step within the movement of these people, to make it legal to have sex with animals. Because the animals, of course, have a right. And they just transform the animal rights into human rights, and everybody becomes one thing. We have to watch these people. And one of the ways to defend ourselves is to reflect on where we're coming from, where we were before they come amongst us. Where were we in our meditation? How did we view the universe? How did we view the cosmos? How did we view each other before we were infiltrated by these Islamic and Christian groups? Because all of a sudden, everything is topsy-turvy. Woman no want to deal with woman, and man want to deal with man, and there is transgender and trans this, everything trans. We have to return to the foundation. Foundation is being natural, and natural is female and male, unifying as God. Metamorphosis.
Alongside mystical villas. Now Blizzard is man walking on the coast of the garden after the seed of sky. Now stand the ways of sinners. Oh, religion. Why is the light to laugh land? And the laugh land that meditate day and night. I do remember that God they are not so. Now man like soldier alongside Billy Mystic say. Yeah. Step up Billy Mystic.
If you don't know, Lord, the things that I know, Babylon taking my division. I know, and the Bible says so. You can't come tell our religion. If you don't know, Lord, the things that I know, Babylon taking my division. I know, see, it was you, just like scribes and the Pharisees. You never knew, no. Christ come, that's the way he would be. Gonna take Natty Jada riding in up on Sunday. You gonna take a Natty Jada riding in up on Sunday. And man, you want to come tell our religion, and you don't know all the things that I know. Babylon.
Somebody texted me telling me that what we need is evolution, not revolution. You have to expand on that. Yeah? Yeah, man, expand on that.
Just like scribes and Pharisees, never knew, no, never knew. Crucified him, that's the way it would be. Never know where I go up on that day Good Friday. Now you're just a yam bun and cheese.
Someone saying that there are three types of mines on the plantation on Jamaica. There's a plantation mine, there's a colonial mine, and there's a liberated mine. This is what is coming through on the text, yeah? Alright.
You know.
Let them push by Jesus Christ on Good Friday, and then they meet them on the cheese on Easter Monday. But me say Catholic, me say Anglican, 7-day Adventist and a Presbyterian. I and I do matter your demonation. Just listen the voice of the King Rastaman. Me say step up the limited and the conscious man. Should be reggae music make it reach number one.
But it was you, just like scribes and Pharisees. Never knew, no, never knew. When Jack come, that's the way he would be. Gonna take Rastafari crowned in his glory.
Lost the eyes.
Now you're gonna take Rastafari crowned in his glory.
Yeah, so we realize now that on this Jamaica plantation, the thing that's called religion is the key to all the division that we face. And when people think that is a politician is a pause, is a part of the major problem. The politician is just playing along. It is a preacher that is often ignored. Because when you pressure the politician, and him can't go no further, him turn to the preacher. And the both of them now turn to Jesus. Yeah, and they must escape. They must escape all responsibility, all duties, because all things are now in the hands of the Lord. And the silly population, claiming that them bright and spiritually upright, can't see the corruption coming out of the politicians and the preachers. They both hide behind the book of the dead, which is the Bible. They hide behind the book of the dead. And the population in Jamaica glorify the dead. We follow the dead all around the island. Anywhere dead is, people go there. When a funeral going on and people just go there and them don't even know who dead. We have this affinity to be attracted to dead. And the book that we give us as the book of truth is really the book of the dead. It starts off talking about pure death. It's a book of death and destruction. And so you have a group of people in the island now, all of them going around claiming to be most knowledgeable about the same book. And you have the level of illiteracy. The illiteracy is so deep in this country that when them go into the book called the Bible, them come out more confused. So, hatred still on the front because groups hate each other without saying it. It's not just dislike, it's hatred. The Pentecostal hate the Methodists, and the Methodists hate the Seventh-day Adventists, who hate the Baptists, who hate the Rasta, who hate the Jehovah's Witness. It's all hatred. And within that hatred now, each group see themselves as self-righteous. Yes, they are nearer to God than anybody else. And the only way you can get to God is you have to come into their flock. So the power thing now is relegated to the individual preachers who control them like a flock. That is where now the ego of these men are fed. And a lot of women are in the gatherings and they are feeding the ego of these men. And these men are feeding something in those women. It's not an ego. Something in those women are being fed. To the point where those men preachers will find time to get involved in sexual activities now with the church members. Telling them that it's the devil at work. Yeah, the devil at work. So emotional feelings, bodily feelings are all ascribed to the devil. And if you want to exercise your bodily feelings, you have to get married or else you shall sin. So relations are not established on any genuine foundation because once them reach sex and the sex done, the relationship is over. So within Christianity, a lot of relationships are just based upon the first sex. The horniest people in the world are two Christians who want to get married. The horniest people because they can't do it any other way. It's a disgrace and it's a shame to human relations. That sex, which is natural, which is what maintains the race, which is what maintains all species of life, has been relegated to a crime within human life. It has been relegated to a sin. Some even think it is unclean. Yeah, we have to change up the whole of our lyrics. We have to reflect more on our cultural history, our story. Not the one them give us from Columbus land. But we have to speak about 1,300 years before the Christian era. 100 years before Jesus born. What were we doing in Panama? What was happening in Central America? What was happening in China, India? Yeah, man, we have to open the brain to recognize the world as a vast planet, and we have to move beyond the planet to begin to look into the systems of bodies that surround the planet. And we have to move beyond our immediate system to look at the bigger galaxies. We have to begin to recognize the galaxies are within a bigger space, and the space is endless. The space is boundless. We have to engage with ideas of infinity. No beginning, no end. But Christian brain, biblical brains can't hold that idea. Because the biblical brain must have a beginning. And the biblical brain is paranoid about an end. Yet the beginning and the end are constructions in ideas. As men decide to say, in the beginning. As men decide to say, once upon a time. As men, because time by its own existence has no boundary. Time and space has no boundaries. They are limitless. So the fear of the end is not based upon a reality. Because the end is not a reality. What comes to an end are cycles. And we have cycles in activities. We have cycles in the weather. We have cycles in nature. We have cycles in government. We have cycles in economics. We have cycles generally. And cycles rise and cycles fall. And in terms of political cycles and leadership and governance, there's a time when the same mighty Egyptians were the leaders of the world in everything, culturally, militarily, every way you can think of. And within the cycle of rise and fall, we see where that empire has fallen. And we have seen where other empires have risen. Greeks, Romans, British, American. And we see where all empires that rise will fall. We are living in a time of a falling empire. Two empires going on at the same time because they are connected. We are seeing the total disappearance or disunity in the United Kingdom. This is a kingdom, that was called the United Kingdom, the UK. And what we're seeing in front of us is the total opposite of a United Kingdom. We see a kingdom splintered. And so it is with the rise and the fall of kingdoms. But it has a cousin attached to it, the United Kingdom. The cousin is the US of A. And the US of A is going through its own decline, politically, economically, morally. And that decline will continue. And it will intensify. Because empires rise, empires fall. And so this president that is sitting in the seat of the White House, this is the agent responsible for bringing America to closure. From Ronald to Donald, we have seen all the things happening in America. It actually started from Tricky Dicky. From Tricky Dicky to Ronald, and from Ronald to Donald. America, like London Bridge, falling apart, state by state.
Yes, we're getting stronger, and Babylon I get weaker. Yes, we're stepping up stronger, coming harder, ain't looking back, feeling stronger, ready to launch the attack. Do you remember when we were the cream of the crop? Is still the Bible, and the carbon we got, they took us away from Africa with an intention to kill our culture, but through the power of the Most High, our mental capacity get wider. Come harder, ain't looking back, feeling stronger, ready to launch the attack. Do you remember when we were the cream of the crop? They stole our Bible, and the carbon we got. This is the time to live by His one. Help your brother man from out of the slum. It's no crime, it's no that he run to liberate yourself.
Yes, the metamorphosis into the final 5 minutes. I want to hear a brethren from Mandeville. Brethren link I about 2 programs before this. Tell them say must enjoy the music of Desiree. I'm tell them say I'm going to heal them up. Well, heal my brethren, I hope you're listening now. I don't know whether you're listening online or through the radio directly, but I want to hear all the people them outside of this region. People them outside of St. Thomas, St. Mary and Portland. Meaning the rest of Jamaica. Hail and give thanks that you are listening. Meaning from around Trelawney ends and them places St. Elizabeth and Manchester. We hear say the Stylzfm is in your ears. So we give thanks for the listenership. And of course we hail people in our very immediate area, Port Antonio, Bombrook, Prospect, Ferry Hill, Long Road, all out of St. Thomas there in the east, Hector's River End. Hail my brethren them. And when we go to the other end, Western Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne Trelawney, straight down the coastline. Everybody in Jamrock. We hope that this month has been constructive in terms of heritage and culture and identifying and solidifying with the power of your heritage. Even all the ones on the North American continent, where black people have been there from before Columbus. Black people, Africans, have been on the North American continent long before anybody that is lacking melanin. And we in all those, especially those in California who fight in the fire, hope the brethren them far away from that, hoping the people them stay out of harm's way. All those in the rest of the states of America, where Trump giving in a warm time. Just remember that him saying, if we go back where you come from, just take it positively. Just reflect on your homeland, reflect on your resources. What could you do to rebuild something in your homeland because you're not at home? And for the rest of the world, heal up continental Africans, heal up Sister P. Yeah, especially in the North American side. And make sure you get back in here in one piece. Heal up the African brethren and sisters, heal up the Europeans, heal up the people down under Australia and in the Caribbean. And all who don't mention, may heal you too. Yes, metamorphosis. This is the month of November coming up, and we're looking forward to the celebrations and the reflections of the coronation of His Imperial Majesty. It took place in 1930. We have to hold these dates in our mind and reflect on our own story and leave Fiden's story alone.
The mornings, joy in the evenings, yeah. Joy when I'm home from work. Well, yeah, you give me joy in the mornings, joy in the evenings, yeah. Joy when I'm home from work.
It's time for the Black Renaissance. Let us make Africa great again. How about that? Let us make Africa great again. We can. And so we will. We shall. We must.
Yeah, you're full of style. Full up of the glitter, full up of the gum. Want you feel myself, not give nobody.
You give me joy in the morning. Joy in the evening, yeah.
You know.
Joy when I'm home from work.
When I roll up,
you give me joy in the morning, joy in the evening, yeah.
Smelling so right.
Joy when I'm home from work.
Oh yeah, I beg you clear my mind now, cause I've been feeling away. Absence from from your presence, hard if it's even a day. When I need a smile, you know to put one on my face. Half the time, like I said, I know you love the pace. No, sprinkle nothing, not a grab or not a trace. When something so sweet, and why you would the other pace? Me say, I heard about you in the papers, and they said, what I know from time, look how you're curing everything.
But you give me joy in the morning, joy in the evening, yeah.
When I roll up,
joy when I'm home from work.
For the lights, you know.
You give me joy in the morning, joy in the evening, yeah.
You know it.
Joy when I'm home from work, yeah.
Check.
Is the universe expanding? Is the universe contracting? Does the universe breathe? Work it out.
Again, bread now no butter then. No, this me not and gun and long rifle a go for then. The streets now no governing. It's a free for all, can't get peace at all. Soul a fly well like a Peter Paul. See it's all clear and evident, caused by the decadence. CIA intelligence, no Netflix have the evidence. And man a shoot pastor in a church, man a shoot father in fitness school. Some different man a set the roof, hey, matter of fact. No one thing about them thing ya. When man can't even manage, put them garbage in a bin, your food box out and car window, I clog up the train. And when the flooding start, the government them get the blame. My brothers, it is a shame. More time we feel embarrassed to be part of this generation, causing all these havoc. Man, and what that a man wouldn't even care about him offspring. Bumper cloud, stop singing.
I'm missing out another word. We're not go no further. But that they are born in the earth, yeah. The youths them have no parents, so you find that they have lost their way. I'm missing out another word.
Yeah, and you know, Iman will go out by uttering my cry within the month of October, heritage and culture. And my big disappointment and agony and pain is that nakedness, that big statue that they have hanging up in Emancipation Park, using nakedness to symbolize emancipation. That is insane. Emancipation means liberation from economic and mental slavery. Having that giant naked man looking into the sky is no sign of a liberated people. It's a disgusting creation called art. And there's a Facebook writer who says, why don't they take the statue down? I'm going further to say a few sticks of dynamite will do. This is from Umoja. It is such a disturbing thing that it need to come down. Yeah, man, that need to come down. In the same way the clock in the Port Antonio Square need to move. That monstrosity, that affront the black personality and family in Emancipation in Kingston Park need to be taken down. By next October, we don't want that up there anymore. We need to clean up the landscape, remove the various symbols and relics of slavery, that the mind can be liberated.
Check the weather report, that's why me tighten the ship and then me arm up the fort. Know the biggest of foes, once the closest of friends, but you know how it goes, how the fake will pretend. Some will shake off your hand and break bread in your house. Soon as you turn your back, them will run up on your spouse. Some will
It's life. The power of the energy, the power of the frequency. Selassie I energy, Selassie I frequency. Emmanuel Jesus. All things rise and passed away. Just the flow of life and change exists that day. While I resist to conform, still I see bring a perfect storm, perfect storm, perfect storm.
a man who labor for this. As the word that King Selassie say, fit is of the fit. Some pretend to pay attention, slide and slip, but I will give a good advice. The best possible thing, perfect storm. Mr. Bring a perfect storm. Oh, perfect storm. I bring a perfect storm. Same young, same old. Same young, same old. Same young, same old. Same face gold. From man will think as he is stone, searching for a sense of life to save his own soul. Cleansing a fire, renewed fine gold. Throughout the tribulation, still I will you want. With the boss is slave gone. The fittest of the fittest stay strong in a perfect storm. That's the man I bring a perfect storm. Perfect storm. I bring a perfect storm. Perfect storm. That's the man I bring a perfect storm. Perfect storm. I bring a perfect storm. Do you know social living is the best? 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 Takes behavior to get along. To get along, do you really, really know that? Do you know social living is the best? 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 Right, no fight, up time. Live good to right, no fight, up time. Do you really, really know that? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know social living is the best? Do you know social living is the best? Do you know social living is the best? Do you really know that? Do you? We are going on this red, gold and green train. Oh yes, we are going. We are going.